The Love Life and Lose Weight podcast will teach you the art and science of changing your habits around food. If you know what to do, but can't figure out why you're just not doing it, this is the right podcast for you. I'm your host, Advanced Certified Weight and Life Coach Heather Beardsley. I've helped hundreds of women just like you figure out how to think and eat like a normal eater, lose weight, and love life on the journey to goal weight and beyond. Hey, welcome to episode 80. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about the concept of and the importance of developing self-reliance. Have you ever stopped to consider how much in your life you allow others to do for you, to think for you, or decide for you? Self-reliance is kind of critical for maintaining autonomy, self-agency, and it facilitates this idea of if I am self-reliant, I have no problem kind of tackling the challenges that are involved in self-growth or just changing habits like we do around weight loss. Relying too heavily on others can weaken our sense of agency and erode our ideas of what we're capable of. And it sort of chips away at our thought processes, our automatic reactions to when we reach or notice that there are problems or obstacles in our way. Um, Self reliance is not just about being independent, it's about nurturing your personal strength, your confidence, and your overall sense of you can be okay on your own, even if you decide that you want to be in deep relationship with others. So let's start with how the erosion of self reliance happens. It's really easy to rely on others if you've been lucky enough to have people in your life who are extremely supportive and capable and giving, which is, of course, what I wish for everybody. I have to say that I didn't always have that. And in fact, for most of my life, I was raised in a home that expected you to be self reliant. That might have been less about the particular people in my life, in my family, and more about the generation in which I was raised, where you were just expected to do for yourself and not over rely on, especially your parents. Gen X was uh, a generation that, we were known as like latchkey kids. We came home to empty houses. There was not a lot of like childcare for us if you were little and your parents worked. So we were sort of like the guinea pigs, and we were able to fend for ourselves in a society in which women were starting to get divorced and go to work and be able to support themselves. And, my generation, we were the young members of families in which many, many families were going through that. Not, of course, every family, but many of us. And, my family was one of those. So, for example, I worked because, I had to have, spending money all throughout school age. And I had various jobs in a town that was not like a walkable town. Everybody drove. Nobody really took the bus. There wasn't even sidewalks like on the main road. And getting to and from work was a problem that I had to figure out every day because I didn't have a car. There was no Uber. There was no taxi. There was a bus, but nobody took the bus. I don't know why a bus wasn't more of an option, but for whatever reason it wasn't. So it was kind of like that's over relying on self-reliance. That's sort of the pendulum swinging too far the other way where you feel like it's all on you and you don't have a safety net. That's not what I'm saying when I'm encouraging you to really take an audit of your ability to be self-reliant in your life. What I am talking about is this phenomenon that happens where when we're comfortable in the relationships that we have, whatever they might be, a spouse, our kids, our friends, and it's really easy to kind of do the default thing, which is to look to others to kind of smooth the road for us. There's been many eye-opening examples of my over reliance with my husband right now, Stu. He is a little bit of a renaissance man where he can fix most things. He knows a little bit about plumbing. He knows a little bit about carpentry. He knows a lot about cars. He's just like a doer. He's like one of these handy people. His parents built a house when he was growing up. And they were like, they acted as their own general contractor, he and his dad. So he learned a lot of things that are like sort of household related, things that break. He's really good with computers. And you can imagine that the propensity for me when something breaks is to just bring it right to him. And a few times it's occurred to me like he's happy to do it and doesn't begrudge any of those things. But I have caught myself thinking, wouldn't it be nice if I knew how to do those things? And then I had like kind of the realization that I should try to fix them myself if I want to. I have this terrible thought sometimes that I think like he won't always be here to do these things for me. And I shouldn't just have him do it for me. I want him to teach me how to do it or how he's fixing it, like, and how he's thinking about it so that I can fix it too. So I did this for myself, and this is what I want to encourage each one of you to do this week, and in the couple of weeks before the next podcast comes out. I want you to think about how you can become more self-reliant in easy ways before you have to be. That's the best time and place to practice. So I have challenged myself to do things like this, especially in the arena of like car maintenance. You know, I have this car that, it's a SUV and it has like a little mini wiper in the back that I can turn on to windshield wipe the back window. And it never gets used. And, my car is probably 5, 6 years old at least. And the blade on it is all like sun damaged and it's kind of scrapey when it goes back and forth. So I knew that I needed to replace the blade in the back windshield wiper mechanism. So I challenged myself to figure out without asking him what windshield wiper replacement to get and then also how to change it. And it required special steps because you have to go in the car and go into the computer of the car in the settings to get the windshield wiper to do something particular before you do it. So I had to look all these things up, and the cool thing is, like back in the 80s, you had to ask somebody how to do it and have them kind of teach you and show you. But these days, everything is on YouTube, right? And that's how I did it. You have to pop the case off the little mechanism, and then you lift up here, and that's how you pull it off. And the cool thing about it was I felt like such a badass having done that. And I think that's the nature of easy wins is that we feel at first pass that asking for help or kind of farming out our challenges for other people to solve, do, or think differently for us. Like, what should I do? Is a great question. In weight loss, I constantly hear, just tell me what to do. That is not being self reliant. Self reliance means that you figure out how to know what to do for yourself by, again, getting into action. So, Habitual reliance on others can diminish our ability to think critically and problem solve for ourselves. The consequences of over reliance on other people and under reliance on our own abilities, especially abilities that we aren't sure that we possess, um, there are consequences to doing that. If you don't make decisions or problem solve for yourself, it sends the message to yourself that you don't trust your own abilities or your own ability to get into deep discomfort as you figure shit out that you don't know how to do. And this can make you feel like you're not in control of your own life and you're kind of dependent on other people, which can lead to a lot of frustration, self doubt, and self judgment. And it kind of over time can affect how you see yourself. So, taking control of your decisions, especially like with small ones, like that little windshield wiper thing, it's making the effort to figure things out for yourself will reinforce your belief in yourself. And when you stop outsourcing your judgment and your capabilities to other people, you start developing a deeper respect for who you are and what you do. And the easiest example I heard was this kind of like this idea of like find your own fucking scissors. Somebody said that, like, I'm just so tired of people asking me where the scissors are the moment they can't find something. Now, this is something so seemingly small. You would think to yourself, like, what does that even matter? Like, the scissors aren't here in the drawer where I normally find them. Like, why wouldn't I ask my partner where they are? Because, of course, they probably put them somewhere else. But this idea of like, no, I'm not going to interrupt them. I'm not going to make them do the mental work to figure out the solution and the mystery of where the scissors are. I'm going to find them myself. It's so easy to be like, where's this? Where's that? Where'd you put this? Where is that? Uh, this is making other people do our own mental loads. We're like sort of emotionally and in our mindset dumping on other people. So, self reliance doesn't require massive life changes overnight. It just means finding the scissors yourself. Instead of asking, did you take the garbage out? Just go and look out the front window and see if you actually see it out there. Be self reliant. See yourself as the person who operates autonomously with as little like over impacting other people in ways that aren't necessary. This way, you save your interaction time for interactions that are truly meaningful, where you're truly present and you're sharing things that really are important rather than like this business of figuring out the minutia of life. Um, Choosing your meals, planning your day, solving your problems independently, it all creates a sense of achievement and self confidence that carries over to bigger challenges. So we plant seeds with finding the scissors ourselves and figuring out if the garbage has already been taken out or if the dishwasher's been run or whose clothes are these in the dryer, right? Just look and figure it out yourself. And when you do that, it influences the way you interact with others and leads you in a cleaner space with other people. So, there is a parallel between this idea of practicing self reliance and your food decisions. So, many people like outsource their decisions about food to others. I see this a lot in my coaching. The most recent example was I didn't eat much yesterday because my husband was having a colonoscopy. And, on the surface, it's not clear whether that was even a problem or not, right? But I just want you to think about how quickly you fall into mirroring what other people do. And if you're doing this without a thought to what you want to do, that's a problem because you're sort of letting other people lead you in your decision making. And I want you to see yourself as the leader of yourself, where you are attached to your hunger and you're attached to your own satiety. And this leaves you independence in when to eat, what to eat, and how much to eat with very little confluence or influence from other people. And that gives you autonomy and power. Hey, it's Heather. We're taking just a quick pause so I can tell you about something that can change the way that you reach your weight goals. The Follow Through Planner is a digital system I designed to help you create calm, focus, and steady progress toward your weight goals without the pressure to be perfect. Imagine opening your laptop and knowing exactly what matters most this week and today, feeling grounded in your goals, confident in your plan, and proud of how you're showing up for yourself. Imagine knowing in any particular day how many overeats you've had and how consistent you're being at stopping at your desired percentage full. That's what this planner helps you do. You'll get coaching based tools I designed to help you organize your time, follow through on what you care about, plan your meals, and build momentum for your weight goals that lasts. To learn more about the digital follow through planner and get your copy and even your discount code, head to hbeardsley.com/planner. That's HBEARDSLEY.com/planner. Lack of autonomy in food choices can lead to confusion, frustration, and sometimes unhealthy habits where we're just mirroring what other people do. And when we do that, we get the results that other people get, which may or may not be right for us. So I want you to try on this idea of being a maverick in your own life. A maverick is somebody who acts independently. Um, Taking ownership of your food choices is one way that you can practice self reliance and being steered by your own internal idea of what's right for you in terms of what, when, and how much to eat. And creating validation from your decision making from that internal mindset, that internal steering of your life and the decisions that you make from what's right for you. It's very liberating as you break free from the need to follow other people's trends, advice, decisions, choices around food. You begin to trust yourself more and embrace a more intuitive approach to eating. I often give this example of book club from years ago. We've been meeting now for probably, oh, I don't know, 17 years, maybe something like that. It's a few, a few years less than my youngest son is old. In any case, we were meeting at a restaurant. This was years ago when my kids were very young and I was a stay at home mom. So wasn't able to go out a lot because my husband at the time traveled. So going out for book club was a big treat for me. I had to get a babysitter, it meant a lot to me. And because I was out, I really wanted to have this one particular dish at this restaurant that we were going to, which was like one of my favorite meals. And one of my book club members, she's a first grade teacher and she likes to kind of get everybody together and like this is what we're doing kind of thing. And it's very like it's all done in a good natured way with like for the benefit of all of us. But in this particular case, it wasn't benefiting me. I didn't want to do as she suggested, which was to order a bunch of apps and all share food. I'm one of those eaters that does not share food. I don't like sharing food unless I've participated in that decision because a lot of times what people like to order isn't it doesn't match what I would like to eat. So I just nicely told her like, "Look, I'm not going to be doing that. I'm going to get my own check. I'm ordering like the filet mignon with the mashed sweet potatoes and I forgot what else came with it." And she really gave me a hard time about it. And I could tell that she was making it mean all kinds of things about how I was not participating in this idea of like camaraderie and all of us doing the same things together. Maybe like I've experienced this even when I've decided not to drink. Other people who I used to drink with when I first, decided I wasn't going to be drinking anymore, they also, kind of good-naturedly gave me a hard time about it. Like, "Come on, like we have a lot of fun and like what is this? Like what are you doing?" And that's okay for people to do. You can't cultivate a sense of what's right for you if your decisions around food are always based in making other people happy or meeting their expectations about what they want from you in terms of shared eating experiences or drinking experiences. So, changing your habits around food may sometimes really fly in the face of changing your habit of how you show up with other people. And I want everyone to experience what it's like to do something differently because they want to and figure out that while it might be uncomfortable, it's not unsafe. My book club member still likes to give me a hard time about ordering differently from other people. But now, all these years later, 12, 15 years later, whatever it is, my book club just knows like Heather does her own thing around food. And it's so much less of an issue than it was that one day. And I've allowed myself to show up like as authentically who I am. And then I get to really enjoy the company of these people who I love so dearly. And I get to enjoy my own company with my food. And, in terms of being self reliant and, practicing food habits that are right for you, this is where you get to be an intentional eater and be an authentic eater with your new habits around food and hopefully your new weight, which, you're probably trying to change if you're listening to this podcast. So, portion control, intuitive eating, choosing foods based on your needs, your hunger, your satiety. You can explain these things to people, or you can just say, "This is just what I'm choosing to do." It's really up to you. It's kind of like when people say, "Well, why aren't you drinking?" The simplest answer that really works for me is I prefer not to. I don't have to go into my reasons of why I don't drink alcohol unless I want to. And so that's the easiest response. I prefer not to. Or you could just say I prefer not to eat right now. And that answer is absolutely good enough. You don't have to over explain. Is the point I wanted to make. Okay, so your self-reliance coach homework is to make a conscious effort to do as much for yourself as possible in small situations throughout the next couple of weeks. So this could be not over relying on people to eat what you're eating or not relying on other people to tell you things that you can figure out yourself. Just really challenge your reliance when you find yourself in a situation where the go to is to rely on other people to give you the information, the answers, or do things for you that you can do yourself. Handle small day to day decisions without outsourcing them. So start with small, low stakes situations and work your way up. Try to stay with solving a problem without asking for help immediately. See how far you can go on your own before asking someone else for the answer or the advice. Trust your own preferences and needs for the food that you eat and plan without seeking validation or confirmation from other people first. A lot of times this has to do with grocery shopping for myself and a lot of clients. Like, can you just give yourself permission to buy the things for you that you want without needing other people to agree? Maybe this is pushing some buttons for some of you, or maybe it isn't at all. But whatever emotions come up around this will leave you breadcrumbs for your growth edge on this. In the next 2 weeks, as you do this self reliance challenge, Journal and reflect on how you feel about taking ownership of these tasks or this thinking or these actions for yourself. Instead of reminding somebody to take out the garbage, can you just do it yourself? And notice how maybe not all the time, but sometimes it can just be freeing to just do it yourself. That is an option that you can take instead of asking whose turn is it to unload the dishwasher, just unload the dishwasher. It gives you the freedom of extrapolating yourself from the enmeshment that sometimes we have with other people that can feel a little tedious sometimes. And that can be a gift. Maybe not all the time doing it yourself, but sometimes when you just want to do it without talking to others about it, right? So, uh, by taking these small actions, hopefully you're connecting it with feelings of independence and a sense of autonomy and self respect, which should feel really good. It shouldn't feel burdensome. Burdensome. If it feels burdensome, maybe taking this track is actually swinging the pendulum too far into independence for you. And your work might be to sort of go the other way and start to ask people to help you more, assist you, listen to you, right? Or collaborate with others more because maybe you've been too independent. And for you, maybe the answer is to go the other way. I'm not saying that self reliance work is for all people at all times. It's about understanding where that feel good feeling of self reliance is for you and where your life is with that right now. Do you need to practice a little more self reliance or actually a little bit less? And when you find out what that right thing is for you, it should feel good, whatever feelings come from more or less self reliance. Self reliance is not about isolation or rejecting help when it's needed. It's about owning your decisions and becoming the person that you go to and trust the most. Developing self reliance is a journey. And the more that you practice some of these small skills, the more naturally it will flow into every area of your life. So I'd love to hear about your experience or thoughts about this self reliance experiment. Visit me on Instagram at Thrive in Midlife on this reel for episode 80, and we can keep the conversation going over there. Come back next time for more coaching insights and the last podcast for our spring season. We're getting ready to those of you who either privately coach with me and or who have purchased the follow through planner, we're going to be doing our seasonal planning and review very shortly. And I'm no longer going to be doing that on the podcast. I'm going to be doing it in a group session. So I look forward to meeting with those of you who are on the list to do that. That's something new and exciting. And if you haven't got your follow through planner yet and you want to plan for the upcoming summer season, now is the time for you to get your academic year follow through planner. The first day to use it will be July 1, which is coming up really soon. So now is a great time for you to get into your academic year planner, go through all of my weight loss program in there, and do some pre work before you start using that daily plan starting July 1. And the academic planner will take you all the way through to June 30th of 2026 so that you have a system in which you can practice and play with your changing your habits around food so that you can meet your goals long term. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the group coaching session. It should be a lot of fun. Hopefully, I'll see you over there. If you're interested in the follow through planner, visit me at hbeardsley.com/FTP to sign up for more information about it. Okay, stay focused and so long. Hey, if this episode resonated for you, then let's connect. Visit hbeardsley.com/subscribe. That's HBEARDSLEY.com/subscribe and become a VIP subscriber. You'll learn how to work with me. You'll get 2 free gifts, access to exclusive VIP content, and get a discount on the digital follow through planner.